Hello, welcome back. I'm glad you can join me. This is episode 6 or 7, I don't know. This is the start of me doing some episodes, so you've got bits in here. Little parts of this are from what's gone on during the week, but I've got some bits from the past. Let me show you this. I've got all of these video clips. There's a lot taking up space on my phone, and it's scrap kitchen worktop, so we're going to be doing about that, and it's hidden behind there. So let me show you what I've got. And before we go too far, I'm just working on a piece for a camera here, so I'm going to try and get that finished while we're doing this in all this editing. But I've got to say, if you've joined me, new subscribers, thank you very much. If you can subscribe, like, share, comment, share on WhatsApp. That seems to be the 2024 way of doing things now, and sharing on WhatsApp makes a massive difference to my channel and everybody else's who's got a YouTube channel out there. So please do that. Let me show you what I got up to. So this is what I want to show you. This is old worktop from a cafe, and as you can see, it's been cut around and chobbled out and it's been thrown out. It was jointed correctly, but if you look at this, these planks here, these are short grain planks. This has got coffee all over it, so that's a bit of a mess. And it was all thrown out, it was all skipped. So see those short lengths there, they're going to twist and bow. It should have gone the other way. If it had gone the other way, it wouldn't have done this, which if you look down there, you can see it's bowed. Now, I'm not here to run down somebody's work, that's not what this is about, but probably run down the person who maybe ordered it, because if you don't know what you're asking for when you're getting people to quote for things, then you don't know what you're going to get. So this job was probably done to a price, and maybe the cheapest quote won. Well, probably because it wasn't done the best way you could do it to make it last long. So this was a quick job, quickly paid, get out there, get it done. Whereas if they'd have paid more money for it and looked at the quote properly, they would probably have got a much better job that lasted for years. So touching that end. Beech is the worst timber for moving. Look at that gap. That's a 20mm gap. I am not surprised there's a 20mm gap. But knowing what beech is like, that should have been a frame. That should have been a timber this side, a timber that side. If they wanted to use, I wouldn't have even put shorts in there. I would have just gone long and planks. People want cheap, and you know what? They get rubbish. If you want cheap, you get rubbish. Right, what am I doing with that? Well, I'm actually cutting it up. Some of it is going to make mallet handles. The mallet handle in this one will be from about there, so they'll miss that. Don't worry about that. And it's too thick. That's fine. It can go through the thickness there, or just through the bandsaw. It's a planing exercise, so that's what that is. And just in keeping these few bits here, because this is good, I've cut the biscuits out. You can just see a bit of evidence where the biscuits were. That'll come out in the planer. A bit there. No more on there. But that's solid beech. That's a nice solid beech piece of wood. So that'll be useful for something. That would have been sort of there, and I've taken about 19mm out the middle, and that's become firewood. Because if we look at this, you can see the joint. And I don't want it jointed, because if it's jointed up wrong, you can see what happens. It bows all over the place. So it'll have to be jointed up again. Some of these we might see some biscuit evidence in. There you go, there's a biscuit. So it's a little sort of beech as well. Beech, slither, 3mm wide, fits in a funny little groove, and it does a very good job. But only when used properly. So yeah, rather than that go in the skip, that's going to be selected. I will take out the good stuff, I will burn the rubbish. There is more. It's here. Look at this. Nothing wrong with this one. This bit's okay. So it's bowed again, so yeah, it'll get cut down. But it's going in the skip. What a waste of timber. If I had to buy all that timber, if I had to buy it, it doesn't bear thinking about. It would be quite a bit of money. So it's autumn. And there's a butterfly in there, and I've just seen him. He's come miles. He's just come miles. So I'm editing this video, and I said last week that about the episodes and the fact that I sort of can't get all of the videos in order because of time periods and time scale, and it turns out that this one isn't so bad. Anyhow, just walking Poe. Say hello to Poe. Really not what I'm supposed to be doing today, but obviously they had problems with this worktop, and that's why they're having a new one. But look at the bow on that. I can't even make that straight if I mean, look at it. So if you've got a bad worktop like this, if you've got something like this, it just needs to come apart. We know there's biscuits in here occasionally. There you go, there's one that's been destroyed. There's one there that's been destroyed and one there that's been destroyed. So basically, when this was initially put in, they didn't use enough biscuits. I would have said 1 every 6 inches or so would have been much better and much more efficient. So big gaps like this wouldn't happen, not if it'd been biscuited properly. Especially down here, look at the state of it. Okay, so what I'm going to do to make that right is take it back to basic timber. I'm going to cut out these biscuits and all of this movement here, which is about 12 mil away from each edge, from each joint. That's a start. Do the same over here. And this is only rough. Now I say it's only rough. I want to get as much good timber out of this as possible. So I've got a straight edge, and what I'll be doing is cutting this to the best of my ability. I mean, look at the state of it. To the best of my ability, cutting it nice and straight so that I can at least save this lot. It'll still need to go through the planer, it'll still need lots of, but you know something, in here is magical stuff. I mean, it's beech. I mean, there's nothing fabulously special about it, but it's usable. Everything that's inside there, well, not everything. What am I looking at? 80% of what we're looking at now is usable, reusable. And the rest goes on the fire and burns. It's got a bit of coffee on it, so it'll burn all right. Right, not brilliantly marked out, but good enough for me to do it on the bandsaw. Let's cut this out and see what we're left with. Right, cut up. I want to show you what's gone on here, and this is interesting to me. Might be to you. There's a lot of stress in this. One of the reasons this hasn't lasted so long is because if we look at that first one that I cut off, look at that offcut. So if I touch it in that end and it's fitted in that end, look how much stress there was in that joint, which tells me that the wood wasn't happy, it wasn't dry enough when they glued it all together. They cramped it, over cramped it, and over the years the stress has come back out, and that's why it was bowed. So there you go, that's one of the problems. Do it properly first time, you won't have any problems with it. So now I'm going to take out the jointed pieces. We can probably see some evidence of the biscuit. There you go. A couple of biscuits here and there. And I've left a bit in. I mean, it means I'm not actually wasting it. This is no good, and there's not much I can do with this here because it's only that thick, half that thickness in between there. So there's not much wood there. So for my time, firewood, that's all that's worth. Let's just have a look at this one. Any evidence in there? And we've got these here, so I can cut some of this away. I'll show you that in a sec. So, and then there's that one. And look, I'm really close to the biscuits there. A little bit of evidence there, which means I've maximised the use of that piece of wood. Right, now we're down to that. Next thing I'm going to do, well, next thing to do is turn them over. I mean, I've got to cut this side off. So I'm going to cut that side off next. So that one needs doing, and I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to cut 45mm away from there. And the reason I'm going to do 45mm away from there is to allow for snipe through my thicknesser. So the end of the piece of wood that I want it to be will be somewhere here, but I'm going to make it a bit longer than that for allow for the snipe. And then this little bit here becomes firewood. So let's just turn them over and see how many of those I'm going to do it to. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad. Only the two. So that's okay. Chop the two ends off and chop this side off to remove those horrible old biscuits. Right, so those bits, those ends are in there. That's firewood. These are all the bits out the middle, as I've shown you. So those are the jointed pieces that are rubbish. And that's what I'm left with. So I've lost about 2 inches that way. I've lost a couple of bits off the end of there. I suppose firewood ones that I'm looking at now might be this one. This one is incredibly bowed. As you can see, it's incredibly bowed. Bit of a mess with these joints along here. And look at all this sealant and stuff. So I'll get something out of that, but it won't be the most efficient because it's short grain. The wood's it's short grain. If the wood would have been going that way, it would have ended up being like that, and I'd have got a lot more from it. So more waste from that, but that's the way it is. Less waste from this one, less waste from that one. Not much waste at all in that one, and that one's not too bad either. When you consider all of this was in the skip, and I've got more here. Not bad, not bad, not too bad. Any jointy ends? No jointy ends. Looks like the joiner, whoever fitted it, had a little problem, so he stuck a wedge in it to get it level. I know why it's not level. I'll show you one of the days why it's not level. Right. Next. Bit of that, I think. To do a really good job and make it so that it will not only look good, it won't warp and twist. Well, I wouldn't have used beech, but if you're using beech, you've got to be careful how you laminate it. That's laminated. Basically means glued together. You've got to be careful how you laminate it, and framing it would have made it better. But everybody wants a cheap job, so guess what they get. That's not what I do. I don't want to do a cheap job. I'm sorry. I want to do quality, and quality costs. And I'm sorry, but I'm old enough now to know better. And actually, do I want something that lasts 10 years and gets ripped out like that? Or do I want to do a job that will last 30 years and look better with age? Or 50 years and look better with age? People, they don't get it. Right, let's show you what I've done. What have I done? About 4 passes. And this is the top sides. These were the top sides. So the bottom is much better than the top because the bottom has been... So this is the one end. And we can see this. I mean, this is obvious. This is obvious. But that's... Now, that could be the B side. If we look at that... It's beautiful. Needs going through the planer one more time. This one. Planer one more time. I mean, do I want that side? Do I want this? That could go through twice. That could go through twice probably. This, there's nothing wrong with it. So the thing to do now is decide, well, what do I want to do with it? And the thing to do is say, well, that's it, stop. If that was the B side and that was the A side, they all look pretty good. I mean, this one, if anything, is paler than the other two. So this one might be better if it was orientated that way, away from the dark one there. But look at them. That's what was being thrown away. So from that, through there, in a few minutes, 2mm off. That's all I've taken off, 2mm. and I've got some good beech, which I can do anything with. It's 30mm thick now. Told you about the snipe on the end. I can just see the snipe line there and there. This is where I cut that bit off. So just making out the snipe line. It's not much. The snipe really isn't much at all, but I can see it. Free wood. $970. So I've marked them all up. I've gone to the centre of each joint, and then I've marked with the calipers either side to get these lines where I will miss the biscuits. So if you look at that, just a little bit of a pocket hole of the biscuit there, more of the biscuit on this piece, and there's a bit the other side, so there'll be a bit there. There you go. So these now, what was that, 970. So now I'm going to take these out because these have got the dodgy joints. So by taking these areas out of the whole lump of wood, I can do that. Now, let's push that back together. I've got 970, 760. 125mm plus the saw kerf, but I've still got all this, and yes, I've got some bits in here that need cutting out. That's wood, that's real wood, and as you know, that wood will be beautiful and usable again.